My first example here shows a 100s chart that has a bunch of the numbers colored green. Now in this example, I would ask a student to color any number they see that ends with a 2 green. So as you can see, we started by coloring the number 2 because that ends with a 2. There's only a 2 there. Then they colored the number 12, that ends with a 2. 22 ends with a 2, and so on. And hopefully your student will start to notice this pattern that all of the numbers that end with a 2 are in this column right here. In fact, no other numbers in this 100 chart end with a 2 except for these numbers in this column right there. Now let's take a look at another one. In this example, I've asked that they color all of the numbers that end with an 8. So again, hopefully they're starting to see that pattern that all the numbers that end in an 8 are going to be in this column right here. And in fact, no other numbers end with an 8 in this whole 100s chart. They're all in this column. And hopefully your student can start to see that pattern with all the other columns. Hey, look at this. All of these numbers in this column end with a 3. And all of these numbers in this column end with a 9. So they can start to see that pattern. The next example we talked about was numbers that start with a certain number or digit. So in this case, we're looking at any number that starts with the digit 3. Now, this one looks a little bit different from the numbers that the hundreds charts that we just looked at. In this example, the first number we found that started with a 3 is the number 30 here. Now, a quick error to point out that some students might look at, they might say, the number 3 should be colored. It starts with a 3. Well, what we're really looking for is a 3 in the tens place value. Now, your student might not yet be familiar with place value, and that's okay. That's something we're going to cover later in this course. But for now, let them know that we're looking for any number that has 2 digits together, 2 numbers together, we call those digits. Any number that has 2 digits together, and the first number out of the 2 numbers is a 3. So since that only has 1 digit, we can't count that one. We want to look for any number that has 2 digits, like this number right here. And so we're going to color these purple. Now notice that all the rest of the numbers that we found that start with the 3 are all in this row. And then in fact, when we get to the end of the row, we don't color that number. That is where we switch to having a 4 as the first digit. So you can see if we color all of the numbers that have a 3 as the first digit, we start here with the number 30, then we go down to this next row, and it's all these numbers all the way up until the end with the very last one not being colored because it does not follow that same rule. This is another example of coloring a certain number as the first digit in a 2-digit number. In this case, we've colored all the numbers that start with a 6. So again, you can see that same pattern. We had the number with a 6 up here, and then we had to go down to the next row, and all of the numbers started with a 6 up until we get to the very last one, and then we switch to a 7. So in a minute, we're going to look at maybe why we see that pattern, but just helping students see that when you're looking in the tens place or in the first digit, all of those numbers will be in the same row, except the very first number will be in the row above, and the very last number of the row will not start with that same digit.